Welcome to this week's edition of Sun News at Noon. I'm Katie Walker.
And I'm Kesia Philpott. Thanks for tuning in. A lost backpack from a previous hiker helped a stranded 12-year-old boy and his father survive after getting lost overnight on top of a red mountain in Ivins on Sunday. The pair did not show up to their designated pickup area at 8 p.m., resulting in the boy's mother contacting search and rescue. They made it above Padre Canyon when their GPS stopped working. As they were stranded, they used the emergency blanket and food rations found in the backpack for the night before being rescued at 9:30 a.m. on Monday. Authorities are reminding hikers to bring supplies such as extra clothing, warm water, and a first aid kit and map to avoid being stranded.
The Pine Valley and Cedar Ranger districts began controlled burns in the Pine Valley Mountains on Tuesday with the goal to reduce wildfire risk. A combined total of 900 to 1,400 acres will be targeted throughout the area, and burns are expected to run until March. Smoke will be visible from areas like Vail and Duck Creek. Smoke inhalation can be dangerous, so if you're planning a trip to those areas, be aware of ways to minimize risk of lung irritation and heart problems. Stay indoors when possible, close windows, and monitor air quality carefully.
The Trump administration has mandated a 15-day review of national monuments, which could directly affect Zion National Park. The main goal of the review is to see which areas could be used for oil, gas, and mining. The Trump administration says there is limited oil and gas leasing, so the review is needed. However, the National Park Conservation Association said the Biden administration had one of the highest oil and gas production that a presidential branch has ever had. Now, 84% of Utahns are in support of protecting national parks and monuments, according to the 2024 Conservation in the West Poll. I spoke to Greg Melton, an assistant professor of geology at Utah Tech, to discuss his opinion on the review.
Trump issued an executive order that is aimed at trying to open up federally owned lands that are currently protected from being exploited. And that term always has, negative connotations, but to be explored for mineral production, mining, gas and oil, energy, anything like that. And currently, a lot of those activities are really restricted. I am an advocate, obviously, for utilizing the resources that we have. Like currently, 70% of Utah's land is federally owned, and it is restricting a lot of access to economically important minerals and resources. I think that some of that should be opened up. However, there still needs to be a lot of protection on some of these lands because Utah is a very unique place. It has some incredibly geologically significant areas, some very historical areas, and they do need to be managed and protected. So there does need to be a balance there. So I don't think that opening them up is going to lower the prices for the consumer at all. The problem is that the cost of any kind of mineral or gas and oil or energy exploitation is really costly here, which is why we import so much of it. It could end up reaching that far into opening up, into our national parks, which would be a real tragedy. There does need to be some line drawn in the sand saying, okay, we're not going to go this far. I love that so many people in Utah want to protect these natural wonders and beautiful places. The administration is putting us in a position where we're not going to have the critical minerals that we need.
Ali Threet, the Dean of Students at Utah Tech University, released a statement on Tuesday regarding the new policy which allows U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement to enter schools. She said student information will not be released to any individual or organization without their written consent. Public student directory information can also be protected by visiting the registrar's office in the Holland building. Threet declined to speak to Sun News on the subject of ICE.
The Utah Tech dance program has an artist completing their residency, a temporary space to work with the students. For the past week, LD Kid has been providing dance students with master classes in jazz, hip hop, and other styles. Kid is an Iowa-based performer, choreographer, and activist. He is in his 23rd year of choreographing and has a Master of Fine Arts from the University of Iowa. When he's not dancing, Kid has his own clothing brand, 100% Over Racism, which aims to combat discrimination and provide financial support to minority-owned businesses.
Doc Utah, an international documentary festival, kicks off in St. George on Thursday, February 27th, and ends on March 1st. The festival originated at Utah Tech University and is on its 15th season. The films will be screened at the Megaplex Theaters on Sunset Boulevard. Events throughout the week include a filmmaker mixer at Guru Sports Bar, Doc Talks, where invited speakers share their thoughts on all things film, and concludes with an award ceremony held at the Megaplex Theater. All screenings and events are free for Utah Tech students.
Yeah, Doc Utah is great. It's one of the only purely documentary film festivals this side of the Mississippi. And I've been lucky enough in the past, last year actually, to have a documentary I helped film in South Korea as a part of Doc Utah. So that was pretty cool. I've had people from Europe come the past couple of years, and just to pick their brains about their particular film and how they tackled certain issues. Because you approach each documentary as it's different. Like you start from zero each time and you're overthinking, but to pick their brain on their process, for me, has helped me in different assignments for my different documentary classes approach them in a more effective and meaningful way. For the students that have never gone to Doc Utah before or don't like documentaries, I get it. I was that way too, but documentaries are awesome because it's about the real world problems that are around us that we don't see, or about subjects that we should be aware of but just don't know about because they're on the other side of the planet. And they help us learn, and it doesn't matter if we necessarily agree with the message that they're saying. We can at least come to a form of understanding from a different point of view and have that information in our back pocket. But documentaries are just awesome. Like, go to Doc Utah.
This past week, I was actually able to take a master class in hip hop from LD Kid, and it was a really awesome opportunity. It was a little different than what I normally do in my ballet class, but it was super great.
Wow, I'm jealous. I have no rhythm. You have to show me some of the moves.
We did a little bit of this, a little bit of this. I'll teach you after.
No, that's awesome. I love it. Coming up after the break, sports anchor Katie Phipps will bring you all of the latest Trailblazer highlights.
If you haven't seen Utah Tech University lately, chances are you haven't seen it at all. With hands-on polytechnic learning across 300 academic programs, 30 new and renovated state-of-the-art facilities, the most affordable university tuition in the state, and 300 days of sunshine. Why look anywhere else? Discover why Utah Tech was recently named one of Education Magazine's 10 prominent universities and colleges to watch. Join us and experience the active learning, active life difference at Utah Tech.
In the southwest corner of Utah, nestled among the towering walls of Zion National Park, is a place where stunning scenery is your constant companion. Here, 2,400 square miles combine for a vast playground. We are a place to immerse yourself, to lose yourself, to find yourself. We are Greater Zion.
Utah Tech men's and women's basketball dropped heartbreaking losses to rivals Southern Utah University last Thursday. Women's basketball controlled the court for the majority of the game with 21 points from Ellie Taylor. However, SUU held the rebound game, which would ultimately give them the momentum to take the lead in the last few minutes of the game, finishing the Trailblazers off 69-66. Meanwhile, up north in Cedar City, despite a strong performance from the men's team, including a season-high 22 points from freshman Madiba Owana, the Blazers fell behind in the last few seconds of the game to a tipped layup by the Thunderbirds, resulting in a loss. Both teams will face another in-state rival, Utah Valley University, tonight. The men's team will play in the Burns Arena at 7 p.m., while the women's team head up to Orem to play at 6 p.m. The Trailblazers baseball team opened their season at home with 2 wins and 2 losses against the University of Northern Colorado in their series this past weekend. The Blazers started the weekend with a 7-5 win over Northern Colorado, assisted by 4 hits and 2 runs from Kyle McDaniel. Utah Tech pushed UNC into a 9th inning game on Saturday. Despite the loss, the Blazers managed to come back from a 5-point deficit with a grand slam from Aaron Perez. The Blazers came back in the second game on Saturday with a 5-4 win over the Bears, and another 9-inning game on Sunday would end in a loss. The Trailblazers will have another 4-game series at home this weekend against University of California, Riverside. Utah Tech Blaze team headed to Anaheim, California this past weekend to take home their first Nationals victory. The Blaze claimed first place in Division I Hip Hop and a runner-up finish in Division I Jazz. Senior Macy Jacobs speaks on what this means for the program.
To win as a senior has literally been the biggest accomplishment because my team, my freshman year, was the first Blaze team that ever competed at the university. So to be a part of that team and kind of grow with the program over the 4 years and then finally win my last year was like the biggest accomplishment ever. It meant so much to me. I feel like finally getting a title will bring so many more girls to Utah Tech. I just feel like Utah Tech and specifically Blaze has kind of been seen as an underdog team over the years. And so I really feel like it's going to put it on the map as one of the bigger schools in Utah, specifically for dance. So I think that's really cool.
The Blaze and the cheer team will be honored at tonight's basketball game for their victories at 7 p.m. in the Burns Arena. What an incredible way to end 4 seasons of collegiate dance with a victory. And that's it for this week's edition of Sun News at Noon. Thanks again for tuning in.
We will see you here next week, same time, same place.
Have a great week, Trailblazers.